Thank you for joining me. I've got a spectacular game for you here between Daniil Dubov and Nihal Sarin. So Nihal Sarin of India, ranked number 69 in the world. Not many better players in the world than him. Just 18 years old though, and nearly a super grandmaster. Super grandmaster being 2,700. Daniil Dubov, several years older. I guess he'd be about 26 now. But he has been improving very quickly. He's had some dominant performances of late, and this is one of them. This one is going to be a very short game, so don't blink. So Dubov playing the white pieces, Sarin playing black. We have pawn to d4 by Daniil, and pawn to d5 by the Indian Grandmaster. We now have the Queen's Gambit by Daniil, and it is accepted by Sarin. So we had pawn to c4 and then d takes c4. And now we have knight to f3, just kind of the normal stuff, knight to f6. We now have pawn to e3 by Daniil, and now pawn to e6 by the Indian Grandmaster. Bishop captures that pawn back, getting the gambited pawn as normally happens. Bishop captures on c4. This is all book stuff. Happened many, many times in elite play. We have pawn to c5, which is the main move in this position. Book move. And Daniil just goes ahead and castles here. We now have pawn to a6 by black, looking to expand on the queen side. Queen now to e2, and we do see pawn to b5 attacking Dubov's bishop. He's got to reposition. He moves his bishop back to d3. This is, again, just all book moves, stuff that's been played thousands and thousands of times. We now have pawn captures on d4, and this is definitely an interesting spot in the game. A couple different ways you could capture back. That's a free pawn. It's just hanging there. You can take with the pawn, although that would leave you an isolated pawn, not something you would normally do. You could capture this way as well, but again, that's not actually what happened in the position. Maybe pause your video and think about what you would do in this position. But Daniil goes with somewhat of a strange move. So hopefully you've already thought about this, if that's what your plan is. But Daniil plays pawn to a4, and he's just looking to get this rook, hopefully, into the game and maybe get involved on the king side over here. Probably would have been best just to go ahead and push the pawn here. Bishop defending. That might have been a better way to play, as this does not work out well for black. We have pawn captures on a4 by the Indian Grandmaster, and now Dubov, of course, captures. Rook captures on a4, putting another attacker on this pawn. Best for black, as judged by the computers, is actually just go ahead and capture this pawn here. But I think I understand why. Let's actually take a look at that real quick. So if pawn captures, bishop captures, and black has no development here. None of his pieces are in the game. The bishops are causing all kinds of problems here. And yeah, this rook is into the game. You got rook maybe coming here. All kinds of problems for black. So it does make sense to me that the Indian Grandmaster did not capture the pawn. It's like you're making all these pawn moves, capturing pawns. Meanwhile, your pieces are all sitting on the back rank. So I think that's why Sarin did not make this move. Let's go back to what actually happened on the chessboard, though. So instead of capturing on e3, Sarin plays the developing move. He plays bishop to e7, which makes some sense, as, yeah, he's got to get his king safe. And now, of course, we have the best move in the position by Daniil. He plays rook captures on d4. And black's got some serious problems here. The queen's got to relocate. She goes to b6, queen b6 by the Indian Grandmaster. And now Dubov plays knight to d2 here. We have the best move in the position for black is knight to c6 as made on the board, and now rook to h4, the best possible move in the position, already aiming in on the likely castled position. You're not going to castle the queen side if you're black, so yeah, This is the absolute best move in the position by Sarin again, and actually this has never been played before, so this variation as of actually rook to or pawn to a4 hadn't been played before in master level play, but we'll continue. We now have bishop to b7 by the Indian Grandmaster, and Dubov puts his knight in the best possible position. Knight to c4 attacking the queen. Queen back to c7 now by Sarin, and Dubov is working on getting his last bishop into the game with bishop to d2. Castles now by black, and now the bishop goes to the square he was aiming for on c3, so bishop to c3 by Dubov. May have actually been better to go ahead and just start getting this rook into the game, but we're going to go ahead and continue. Both players have a lot of time on the clock, playing pretty quickly. Well, Dubov especially. He's got 12:48 and only 8 minutes on Sarin's clock. Got some problems here after. You got ideas of maybe taking this knight, so removing the defender, and then bishop captures pawn here, check, forcing the rook, or forcing the king to jump in front of the rook here, and all kinds of nastiness could ensue. So Nihal plays pawn to g6, which is not the best way to play. It creates some holes in the position that Daniil will soon exploit. He should have instead actually pushed the pawn up here. That would have been a better move in the position. But let's go ahead and continue with what actually happened on the chessboard. Dubov plays the best possible move in the position. He plays knight to g5, a difficult one to deal with. Best here for black would be to push this pawn here. He should just push the pawn. He actually plays knight to d5, which is an absolute blunder and ensures a quick demise. But let's real quick take a look into the variation he should have played. So he should have played pawn to e5 here, just trying to blunt this attack of this bishop. A lot of craziness going on here. Then white should play pawn to f4 here, attacking the pawn once again, and then pawn to e4 would be best for black. Bishop forced to go back, probably to b1. Knight now to d5. Bishop's got to run, driving the bishop back to e1. And you can see that, white's pieces are now not so nicely coordinated. Probably black would play rook to c8 here would be best. Pawn defends knight, pawn to b3. And this would be a far, far superior position to the one that Sarin actually faces on the chessboard, but let's go back to that now. So Sarin plays knight to d5, which is a huge mistake. Daniil plays this very next move, and Sarin resigns the game. He gives up. So, yeah, go ahead and pause your video for a moment and think about it. What would you do here? Can you find the move that would make a grandmaster, one of the top grandmasters in the world, resign the game? And by the way, so one of you suggested that I cover more of Daniil Dubov's games, and I appreciate that. He is an extraordinary player. If people want to see his games, I definitely want to show them. He just beat also Nepomniachtchi, Jan Nepomniachtchi. He just crushed him in a game, which I would like to show as well if you guys want to see that. And Jan Nepomniachtchi is playing to be world champion. So Daniil Dubov striking down one of the strongest players in the world. Anyway, did you find the move? Hopefully you pause your video if you were looking for it. But it was simply queen to h5. And this is an absolute, the game over. It's a mate in 4 at best. There's no way to deal with this situation. And, for example, you can't take the queen because if you take the queen, then it's just mate in 1. This is just game over. That's just checkmate. So that's not an option. Knight to f6 is claimed to be the best by the computer, so you played knight to f6 here, just guarding against checkmate. But then bishop can just go ahead and take f6, and you can't capture back. Probably, best would just be like a queen sacrifice. You can't stop checkmate, so like queen captures h2 is the only thing that saves you. And so rook captures h2, but you're still going to get checkmated here. Yeah, it is a mate in 2. You could play like pawn to h6, but queen captures, and then, nothing can be done to stop the queen from checkmating there. So Daniil Dubov, fantastic chess player. I will be covering some more of his games. I think he's just incredibly brilliant. He's one of the most brilliant minds in chess. I don't remember who suggested that I check out his games, but thank you for that. And thank you all for joining me for this FIDE World Rapid Chess game. This was from round 7 of the tournament just played a few days ago. Anyway, thank you all for joining me. Please like and subscribe. If you're interested in chess classes, I do teach group and individual chess classes online, so you can check that out. You can maybe comment and ask me about it, or you can go to my Patreon page, which there should be links in the description. Anyway, thank you, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.